Department of Homeland Security, meanwhile, reportedly developing a plan to more closely investigate social media posts and the online footprint of those applying for a U.S. visa. So as people's online footprints grow, how concerned should we be about how easily their information can be found? Joining us right now is Whitepages CEO Alex Algard. Alex, good to see you. Thanks so much for joining us.
Happy to be here.
Well, you know, I mean, there's so much to talk about with you because I know there's also the spam part of this conversation. But first, give us a sense of what kind of things you've got in place at Whitepages to alert us to strangers calling, to possible malfeasance in terms of people getting in touch with us on the phone.
Yeah, sure. So Whitepages provides a leading caller ID app for smartphones, Whitepages ID. And we make it really easy for consumers to install our Android app to identify unknown callers. You'll always know who's calling, whether it's a friend or an important business contact, or in some cases, unwanted callers like spam callers and nuisance callers and so forth.
What kind of information do you share with government as it relates to terrorism and the potential for threats on the phone?
We've actually had fairly limited cooperation to date, but I'm really excited that the government is recognizing nuisance phone calls as a growing issue. And there's actually been some recent regulation passed that makes it easier for the wireless carriers to block out unwanted callers as well.
Yeah, I mean, Dagan McDowell joining the conversation. It's just extraordinary that there was a secret strategy ongoing at the State Department which blocked agents from actually looking at social media, not necessarily telephone calls, but social media when it comes to people wanting into the country.
Because it might look bad.
Right.
And that's the essence of it.
I don't even know why it would look bad. What is so bad about checking the backgrounds of people wanting to come to America?
Because that's the direction that this country has gone. We're worried about the privacy of people who don't even live here rather than the safety of those people who do. Alex, I want to bring this up. In terms of the ability for the government to look at people's social media traffic and just the information that's out there online, isn't it kind of easy for the average person to go out there and at least dig around? I watch Catfish on MTV, and they can dig up just about anything. They can uncover somebody's fake identity in literally a couple of hours.
Yeah, I mean, there's certainly more and more information being posted online, and I think in this day and age, it's more important than ever that people are careful about what they post online, you know, especially personal information, not just pictures and so forth, but also their email address, their cell phone number, and so forth as well.
And it brings up the question, what really is my property, and what rights do I have to choose what kind of information is shared and how liberally it is shared? Because we used to not really have this problem with the internet before there was such technology that made aggregation of information so easy. Right now, you can go on, and for a very small fee, you can find out some really disturbing things about a complete stranger. It kind of violates like our privacy as far as somebody showing up at your front door unannounced who's potentially dangerous, and you don't have a whole lot of great ways to protect yourself from that. That has to be looked at.
Yeah, and in addition to that, also, I think it's important to realize that information, this type of information can be used for good as well. And for example, every time that your phone rings, it's a potential violation of privacy. And that's also where companies like us come in, and we help you identify every inbound phone call, so you always know who's calling. But certainly, yeah, we live in a very rapidly evolving environment.
You have, in fact, new data on fraudulent phone scams this year, up 55% from a year earlier.
That's right. Yeah, unfortunately, it's a growth business for some of these nuisance phone calls, especially the worst ones, which we classify as scam phone calls. And you're right, we've seen over a 50% increase in these phone calls year over year, so it's turning out to be a lucrative market for some of these guys.
And I think that they're really preying on seniors as well. Absolutely. Because you've got these calls coming in, oh, your roof needs fixing, this needs fixing, and then they show up at seniors' homes and actually rob them.
Well, and in large part, that's the demographic that still has landlines, right? So what's the trend as far as the landline is concerned? Is that still a sharp decline, or has there been any sort of turnaround?
No, I think the landline is really, you know, dying a very quick death, and landline phone calls also are becoming less relevant. And an increasing portion of landline phone calls turn out to be, you know, telemarketer and nuisance phone calls. So what we really focus on as a business is protecting the cell phone.
Right. The scam, the growth in scams is on your cell phone. I've noticed it.
Really?
I would say the volume of phony phone calls, I call them phony, but they're really scam artists, con artists, that has gone up. It's gone up probably almost doubled, I would say, in the last year. My phone rings nonstop.
Is there any way to protect yourself on your cell phone, Alex?
Yeah, there's a lot of ways. I mean, some of them are just common sense techniques, such as making sure that you don't pick up the phone if it's from an unknown caller.
Right.
Be careful about what you post online, especially your phone number, and in particular your cell phone number. And then, of course, we also provide the Whitepages caller ID app, which makes it really easy to block out unwanted callers.
That's good stuff. Alex, good to have you on the program today. Thanks so much, Alex Algard. Jake, we'll see you